One of the fastest ways to tell if somebody is a new or experienced pilot is to see how they do a simple roll. Take a look at these clips and tell me if you can spot the difference. So, did you see it? The difference is in the second clip, when I went to do a simple roll, I was actually using both the right stick and the left stick, the roll and the yaw stick. The difference can be pretty subtle, and unless you know what you're looking for or you've already been flying for a bit, I'm not sure that you'd always recognize it. And this is one of those things that I think is really important for new pilots to keep in mind so they don't get into bad habits. Because believe me, I was doing this when I first started, and it's a really, really difficult habit to break out of. I'm still trying to break out of it, like, completely. So today I want to show you guys a drill that I've been doing to help me coordinate my yaw and my roll better. So your rolls look a lot more crisp and precise, and they don't just look sloppy and wobbly. Quad I am using today is this guy. This is actually my own design that I will be launching soon for you guys to buy. Got some features that I think you crackhead pilots like me are really going to enjoy, so stay tuned for that, but let's jump in. For this, I'm actually going to be showing you guys my DVR, not my onboard 4K, so it's going to be a little bit different. The reason for that is I have a little crosshair in the center of my screen. That's just the integrated DJI Goggles 2 one. That's the one I use. You can definitely use a Betaflight or whatever other firmware you are running. It doesn't really matter, but the point is you want a crosshair. That it really does help. So that's the first step. Step number 2 is we want to find an object that's easy to see and easy to track in the sky. So really for me, in this spot, there's no shortage of options. So let's just, for the first try, let's pick this tree right in the middle. And what we're gonna do is first we're gonna see, I'll get it level, and we're first gonna see when I just do a pure roll input, I'm gonna watch what my crosshair does. So blip the throttle, roll. Let's do it again the other direction. Level it out first, blip the throttle, roll. What do you notice the cursor is doing? The cursor is actually orbiting around like this area of the tree instead of staying fixed on one point of the tree, if that makes sense. So why is that? Well, it's because the camera angle, in this case it's 25 degrees on my drone. For you it might be 20, might be 30, might be 35, doesn't really matter. The point is, when you're pointing at something with your camera, that's not actually the direction your drone is pointing. Your drone is pointing the 25, 30, whatever it is, below where that cursor is. So that means there's an offset whenever you roll. And what that means is your rolls look a lot sloppier. They don't look locked in because they don't seem to be around any one point, right? They look like they're orbiting almost. So how do we fix that? Well, let's do the same thing. Let's lock onto this tree again. And let me just show you guys a better coordinated roll that inputs the yaw stick as well as the roll stick. So that way your roll looks a lot smoother. Let me do another one that was really bad. See how it's a little bit tighter? And I certainly have room for improvement too, but you notice that it's a little bit tighter. The area that that crosshair paints over is a little bit smaller than before with the pure roll input. So I like to just find myself a tree and just kind of start doing this. Start rolling and trying to coordinate your roll a little bit better. I always like to blip the throttle before starting this too. So let's try this tree over here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a few faster ones because it's easier, and then we're gonna work into the slower reps instead because they're definitely harder. They really make you think and force you to be better at this. So I just like to bounce between, tree to tree and just practice my coordination. A general rule of thumb is if you're rolling left, you yaw right. So you can visualize that as the sticks go in towards each other. That's if you're rolling left. Or if you're rolling right, the sticks go out away from each other. So you're always doing kind of opposing movements here. You see that? I'm pinching in and I'm rolling out. that way. Let's change batteries. I'll do another pack in a sec here, but I just want to briefly chat about why we even care about doing this. Well, there's a couple reasons. Number one is it looks cool. It just looks a lot more polished and locked in. We all want to look cool when we're flying. And the second reason is it feels a lot more natural when your drone seems like it's rotating about a point that you are looking at instead of what the drone itself is looking at. Remember how I was talking about camera angles? That's what I mean. If you look at any of the good Spang pilots, they are absolute masters at coordinating yaw and roll, and they even throw in pitch. That's like the next level you can take this to even further refine your roll technique. So if you want to see like a masterclass of a perfect roll, look up some Spang pilots. I forgot to mention in the first pack, you want to really try and do this when you're warming up. I found that if I start off with doing this drill a few times, the rest of my session just goes a lot smoother. It's like I get the coordination down, and then from there, I kind of got it for the day. Like, see how these are already better and more crisp and precise than they were in the last pack. That's what I mean. Start off doing this. It really does help. But I kind of like to go back and forth because, you know, if you're pointing at an object below, so if you're pointing at an object like this, you know, your drone's going to go forward. So for that reason, I like to pick kind of two opposing obstacles. In this case, it's this tree and this tree, and just go back and forth between them. And you can choose whether you want to drop your throttle all the way or keep a little bit on. It doesn't really matter. Really, the only difference is if you keep more throttle on, you're gonna do a bit more of a spiral. Your drone's gonna fly a little bit farther around when you're rolling, if that makes any sense at all. I feel like I didn't explain that well. So if you ever throttle off when you're doing this, you have no thrust that's making you do like a wild, like circular, you know what I mean? Like circular roll like that. There, that was a good example. So that can happen if your throttle's on, but it doesn't really matter as long as you're not, you know, blasting at full throttle. If you have a tiny bit on, it's not going to be the end of the world. I like to fly with as little as possible when I'm doing this. I think it just makes it easier for me, but do what works for you. So after you do a couple of those, you can start trying some just basic freestyle. And I think we'll try a split S through these trees over here. This is some of my favorite obstacles that I fly. A terrible example, we'll do it again. Go left this time. There we go. See how that was nice and crisp? About 1 point, not orbiting a point. There. So you can just start doing basic freestyle maneuvers. Split S's are really good for this. It's one of my favorite moves to do. Do a Immelman now. That's where you go up and roll out. So notice if you start practicing this more, you'll feel like you're almost flying a plane instead of a drone because it just responds a lot more predictably. At least it looks like it responds more predictably, if that makes any sense. And then when you get that down, you can start doing some lower level stuff. So this type of stuff is really big in Spang. They're always low to the ground. They're doing erratic maneuvers, but they're perfectly controlled, and you never have stuff that looks like this. You know, they're not orbiting. They're just locked in. They're pointing at one thing, and that's it. But you can really start to get crazy with it if you get good. All right, this pack's dead. I'll bring it in. So there you go. There's a simple drill that you guys can do pretty much anywhere that instantly makes you look like a better pilot, maybe than you actually are. You know, it wasn't until I started doing a lot more of this and really making it a focus that people started commenting on my flying. Before I was just some guy that was flying a drone, not really coordinating my roll like a bum. And then I started doing this and started getting compliments. So that's all I'm saying. Work for me. I think it'll work for you. Give this a try at your next session. But until the next one, I hope you guys learned something. I found drills like this to be really, really useful at training specific skills. I like to take small chunks, like small little skills, and just kind of break them down into the smallest components. Master one at a time, and before you know it, you're flying like Vanover. Well, maybe not, but you get what I mean. Thanks again for watching, I really appreciate it. If you like this video, drop a like down below. Feel free to leave a comment with any other drills that you have, and please don't forget to hit subscribe. Keep ripping, keep wrecking, and keep learning. Peace.